I'm Lorri Epstein. I'm the Water Quality Director with Columbia Riverkeeper, and we're working on a project called Is Your Fish Toxic? We're working with local fishermen who catch and eat fish from the Columbia River, and we're taking the fish that are bound for the dinner table and instead sending them to the lab to test for toxic pollutants. We know that the Columbia River is burdened with too much toxic pollution. There are legacy pollutants such as PCBs and DDT that are entering the river from dirty industrial sites and from stormwater runoff. There are also emerging contaminants, things like pharmaceuticals and flame retardants that pass through our wastewater treatment plants unaffected and are discharged into the river. And then there are also heavy metals that, for example, mercury from coal-fired power plants that enter the Columbia River, and they contaminate the fish that people rely on as a healthy food source. So we're testing these fish to see, are they safe to eat? We've had fishermen come to us concerned about the fish that they're consuming. So we have 3 fishermen that we've worked with. Bob Rees is a fishing guide. He fishes in the estuary near Astoria. And we went out sturgeon fishing with him and took a sample from him and his clients and sent it to the lab to test.
I think some of these sturgeon that are in the estuary are in and out of the salt water. We probably don't experience the same sort of problems that folks do in further upriver fisheries where the fish are more long-term residential. But nonetheless, this is a long-lived species. There are obviously biotoxins in the Columbia River system.
That fish came back with PCBs that were 7,000% above what the EPA considers safe for unrestricted consumption. Greg Short is a fisherman, fishes in Bonneville Pool in the Columbia Gorge near Hood River.
In the mid-Columbia here, I suspect there could be contaminants, but I don't know of any official health advisories for here locally. Fish is generally healthy if it doesn't have contaminants in it.
He provided us with a bass sample that came back with mercury levels that exceed what the EPA would consider safe for consumption by 300%. We also have another fisherman, Daniel Pop, fishes in the Columbia Slough. And he doesn't like salmon. He prefers the taste of the resident fish, things like carp and bass and suckers.
The reason we eat this kind of fish, the muddy stuff fish, because this is a very dirty water if you look. And it's the tradition. So far, I don't feel sick, I mean.
The fish that he provided us with came back with PCBs that were 27,000% above what EPA considers safe for unrestricted consumption, as well as PBDEs, which are toxic flame retardants. They're known to disrupt endocrine systems, and they can affect reproductive systems in fish and in humans.
The levels that were found by Columbia Riverkeepers are in line with what we found in some other studies on the lower mid-Columbia and also in the Willamette in certain selected areas. So these values are what we're seeing widespread, not just here in the Columbia Slough, but we're seeing similar values in other parts of the state.
Our results show that there's too much toxic pollution in the Columbia River. These fish are potentially sacrificing people's health when they consume them. And we believe that everyone has the right to fish and consume fish from the Columbia River without the fear of getting sick. So we need to reduce the amount of toxic pollution that's entering this river every single day. It's not enough to issue fish advisories warning people not to fish. Many people rely on fish as a healthy food source or they don't see the advisories, and it's unfair to sacrifice their health.